What is crack-a-lack-a-lackin', everybody? Welcome into episode 2 of My Mind is a Weapon podcast. This is going to be an episode where we do grenades and fades. So we're going to take 10 players at random each that we both selected, me and my boy Disco, Big Draft Energy, who I'll introduce right after this. And we're going to see if we jump on a grenade for that player, and you're going to hear this sound. And if you're going to fade the player, you're going to hear this sound. Bye. And then we're going to try and debate and get that person, if they fade them, to jump on a grenade with a couple insights of our own to see if it works. And we're going to battle back and forth. So let's get it started here. Let me drop the intro here.
Welcome to the My Mind is a Weapon podcast.
All right, what's good? Big Draft Energy Disco in the building. Introduce yourself. Say what's up to the people. How are we doing today, my man? Are we ready to get it started?
Are we live? Is this thing up? Yeah, we're live. I was generally questioning if we were live or not. It's so weird being on the other side of StreamYard. Hi guys, I'm Disco. My friends call me Disco. I'm from the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel and podcast. I'm good friends with Sleazeball. I like talking football. I disagree with a lot of his takes, and I'm here just
We're here to battle it out. I trust my guys' insight more than most people I would ever put on my show. So welcome. Thank you. You're here. You're always welcome anytime.
Thank you for having me.
Let's jump into some grenades and fades here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with quarterbacks. We'll go to running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and at the very end, we'll give a deep sleeper past 200 ADP in redraft and see if you want to jump on a grenade or fade that guy at the same time. So I'm going to give you the first run at it here. And my first one is going to be Deshaun Watson, grenade or fade.
All right. So I don't want to give a politically correct answer, so I'm just going to straight up say it. Fuck him. Fade. Major fade. I'm out.
Fades him. Okay. Why are we fading Deshaun Watson?
Inconsistency, terrible shoulder injury. The shoulder injury happened later on in the season, and it is going to be difficult for him to come back with that. And I also honestly just don't think he loves football the way he should love football. He got the bag. You know, he had to pay off a lot of, people to silence them and, save his career. I just think he's a bad person, and I think he's no longer trying to be a spectacular player. I think he's just, doing the bare minimum to get by, and that's my take. Like his upside's tremendous. If he can even remotely come close to what he did in the past, then yeah, he's an absolute smash currently at ADP. But that's the thing. I don't think he cares about football anymore at all.
So if I had to try and persuade you, I'd persuade you with Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman, Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, David Njoku, a top 3 offensive line, and he averaged 18 points a game when he played last year, quarterback.
He averaged 18 points a game when he played at quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
Where? Honestly, the weapons are spectacular. The offense should be humming and it should be good. They also play in a really tough division. You named a lot of good, very talented players. I wouldn't really count Nick Chubb as one of those players this upcoming season.
I'd say more of a second half for him kind of thing, yeah, with his injury.
Yeah, even then, he'll be relatively limited. But the way I look at it is do I want to invest in a QB who I don't trust is going to want to finish the season? And if he does want to finish the season, it's not going to give it his all. It's just one of those investments where, sure, if he's my third quarterback and I'm desperately pounding quarterbacks and pause, and I'm desperately hammering quarterbacks, pause. I'm desperately drafting quarterbacks back to back because I pushed the position and he's my second quarterback in best ball tournaments exclusively. Sure, by all means. But in redraft, I want nothing to do with it.
What about Superflex?
Oh, it's just yeah, I pushed the quarterback position in Superflex. I try to get the early
Early quarterbacks.
Yeah, so I try not to get the early quarterbacks at all. I'll try and get like Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 12th turn. I just did that earlier in a Dynasty startup super flex. I'll push the quarterback position. So I'd probably pick him up, but just for the sake of having a guy who plays quarterback in a super flex. But other than that, it's like I'm not into it. I'm not there for him. Don't want anything to do with him in redraft. If I'm wrong, you know what I mean? Shame on me, but
got you. I don't think I'm going to be taking him in a redraft either. But Bayou Bengal, also on this podcast, we will be answering comments. I forgot to say that at the intro. So if you guys have comments, drop them in there. We will try to get to them as fast as we can. We'll try and wait till after the talk or whatever is over. Bayou Bengal says Watson's a fade. I say I agree. In redraft, yes, I agree 100%. Unless, you have a quarterback injury and your number one goes down, he's a good number two for me. But I totally agree with that.
James makes a good point with top 3 O-line.
Top 3 O-line, yes.
That just has me more bullish on what's his face, Jerome Ford, than Deshaun Watson. That makes me
Jerome Ford is super slept on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fire away your player. We'll go back and forth.
Brock Purdy.
So Brock Purdy. This one, since I'm a Niner fan, really hurts my heart. This guy was quarterback 6 last year, coming off a UCL injury with a fast recovery rehab, faster time than he should have had to make it back. And he comes out at quarterback 6, and he's still being drafted at ADP 11 or quarterback 11. I would get it if, Brandon Ayuk was gone, the CMC was gone or something. All the weapons look like they're going to stay intact. This guy's going to be fully healthy. The offensive line, it got kind of a little, I'm not going to say it's about the same. I don't like our right tackle, but I think it's going to be still good. And CMC is a monster. I mean, this guy's going to absolutely come back healthy and still be a top 10 quarterback. He's not being drafted like it. I am jumping on a grenade for him at his ADP 100%.
Yeah, 100% easily. There you go. So, but when I look at Brock Purdy, when I look at the quarterback position, I look at 2 things. I look at average, how many attempts do they average per game, and if it's on the low end, which it is for Brock Purdy, how far are they throwing the ball per attempt?
So Brock Purdy was also number 1 in deep ball throws, number 1 in money throws, like top 3 in pressure throws. Like, this guy's no longer a game manager, man. That consensus has got to stop. He is a true legit quarterback.
That's what I was getting at. It's like he has, all those metrics. He meets all those metrics as a quarterback for like a very safe floor and a very high ceiling play as well. He's as safe as safe comes. His threats have not necessarily left, and they do have a contingency plan in case anything happens with Ayuk. But like, I'm still higher on Deebo Samuel than I am on Ayuk, and Ayuk is going ahead of him. So, I think his weapons are still there, and I still think they're going to compete, and I still think they're going to make their chunk plays and chunk throws because that's how the Shanahan offense works, and he's going to continue to stay in the Kyle Shanahan system in theory. So,
we both agree on jumping on a grenade for him.
Yeah,
I mean, his ADP is so low, it's crazy. Or so high, I don't understand it. But
yeah.
Okay, so we got Willie saying, "Hey guys, long-time listener, first-time caller. Just wondering what your thoughts are on a dynasty trade for Jay Season for Jerry Jeudy and a draft pick." I would take Jay Season all day. What do you think about that? Depending on the draft pick, unless it's like a 25 first or something.
Especially in a dynasty, Jackson Smith and Jigba makes sense. He's a guy who's unproven, who shows promise, whereas Jeudy is just unproven. He's a jag.
All day. Just a guy. Steve Smith.
Love Steve Smith.
James says, "Love Purdy doesn't throw much, but when he does, he makes it count."
Amen.
He throws more than you think, man.
Efficient. Every quarterback throws more than you think, right? But like, if we're talking about in comparison to like a Trevor Lawrence or a Josh Allen or like a Patrick Mahomes, those guys who are putting up 45 passes, like a Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, guys who are Joe Burrow, who are throwing the ball 45, 50 times a game. Yeah, he doesn't throw a lot. He throws 30 times.
Do you think that was part of the managing the injury, or do you not think that was not part of managing the injury?
I think that's just part of the scheme. If you look at Shanahan's offense, everywhere he's gone, it's been run first, and
I agree.
Get the chunk plays off of the run, and he's been scheming some really good gadget plays along with that. But he's also been, scheming up his guys. He's been blessed with some really spectacular receivers.
I agree. So we're both jumping on a grenade for Brock Purdy.
Heard.
We went negative on Deshaun Watson. We faded him. Heading into number 3 here, I got for you. It is going to be, you just brought him up to. I know you're going to jump on a grenade for him. Trevor Lawrence at his value ADP. Grenade or fade after last season?
Man, I would take a grenade for that guy simply because his hair is so flawless. Like the epitome
Sunshine.
of Mr. Silky Smooth. If we're talking about Brock Purdy, how we love Brock Purdy based off of the metrics of being somebody who makes those chunk plays, takes those chunk shots, Trevor Lawrence is right up there as well. Like, I think he was top 4 in the air yards per pass attempt on all facets, whether it be 10 all the way up to 50. The only issue was his players last year didn't really come down with it as a lot. And I feel like they addressed that.
A lot of them.
Well, they addressed that. Calvin Ridley is more of a middle of the field, like sharp route runner, impeccable route runner. But when we think about Calvin Ridley, we don't think of him as like a burner, a guy who's going to go down the field and just, kill you with speed. We think of Calvin Ridley as, and this year, what they did was they still have Christian Kirk and they have Evan Ingram who can control, those intermediary routes, crush zone defenses. And then they brought in not just one chunk play guy and Gabe Davis in a free agency move. They brought in BTJ, who, in my opinion, is just as good as Malik Neighbors, but he's just not being talked about as much. And these guys are 2 speedsters, 2 chunk play monsters. And it doesn't matter who he's throwing the ball to. We know that he's going to get rid of the ball. He's going to get rid of it with touch and accuracy, and he's going to throw it to the right place. And he finally has the playmakers who are now in place to make it happen. Trevor Lawrence is one of the best quarterbacks you could draft this season, period.
At value?
Period. At that value, he is a top 5 upside quarterback. I have him finishing off the season as a top 5 quarterback every time I see him.
Okay.
Every time I see him in these best ball drafts, I'm like, smash, draft. I always try to build correlation around Trevor Lawrence because I believe in him and that offense. I really do. Absolutely spectacular play.
I have to agree with that. I can't argue and go with the fade on that. But the one thing I'd say is Calvin Ridley, when he was on the Falcons, he could take the top off of defense for sure. Ever since he's been back, I don't think it's the same. The speed's kind of gone.
31 now.
Yeah, I think 29.
31.
I don't know. You have to fact check that on me.
I'll fact check it. You keep running your show.
I will go with that. I will agree with jumping on a grenade with him. I am all over Trevor Lawrence at his value. Top 5 is a little hefty for me. I will say that I think that he can go top 10. The top 5 quarterbacks are just so good. I mean, I don't put him above Allen, Hurts, all the top dogs. That's tough for me, especially Mahomes now with his weapons. But I do like that a lot. Heading into, so we both jumped on a grenade for Trevor Lawrence.
You're right. He is 29 years old.
29. I didn't think he was 30 yet. Okay.
I said 31. I said 31.
31. So fire at me your next player. We both jumped on a grenade for Lawrence. We both jumped on a grenade for Brock Purdy, and we both shot away. Deshaun Watson faded. Who do we got next?
Bryce Young.
Oh, my God. Bryce Young. See, this one is like tough because I do think the breakout is coming. Bringing in Dave Canales, the quarterback whisperer. There's not a better landing spot you could have than having him come to your team. He's going to look at what this guy did in the draft, man. All offense. He goes Jonathan Brooks. He goes Xavier Legette at the end of the first. He goes Jatavion Sanders. Gets himself a bunch of chess pieces to play with. He brings in Deontay Johnson. Bryce Young has the ultimate breakout ahead of him, but I don't know if I'd start him in a redraft as a starting quarterback. Like, you know what I mean? That's my problem.
Okay. So I know you prepared for Bryce Young. But we've been agreeing a hell of a lot. So I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Don't make a curveball.
Forget about Bryce Young. That's a spectacular value. Okay, here's a curveball. What about Will Levis?
Will Levis, I am on the same train as Bryce Young with. Same thing. I love what they did with the offensive line. They bring in Latham. They bring in the center from Miami. They gave him like a $50 million contract. I forget his name. It's weird. It's like, I don't want to say it wrong. It's something with an L. Lloyd or Cushion Lloyd or something like that. But
Cushionberry. Lloyd Cushenberry.
That's it. Okay. Great center they brought in. They're going to have Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears, all the weapons, DeAndre Hopkins. His breakout is the same as Bryce Young's, except I like Dave Canales' play calling a hell of a lot better than the Titans. I'm not not on board with that fully.
Yeah, when I look at the situation in Tennessee, it's too good to be true. The receiving core, too good to be true. The offensive line improvements is nice, especially with Callahan bringing his father.
Yeah, but from the Bengals, right?
Line. That's a huge get. So if I'm looking at all the pressure on one of these quarterbacks, and it could be either one, it could be Bryce Young, it could be because they both have very similar off seasons. Let's be real. The receiver cores have all improved, coaching staff improved, offensive line game both improved. When I look at both of them, it's both of their games to lose, right? If you're very high on them,
I'm high on them, but I don't know if I draft them as starters. That's like the debate.
So it's like, is it redraft that you want to get exposure to these guys, or are they like a QB2 or even a QB3 and a 3 QB?
They're QB2 to me.
Yeah, I'm okay. So, but in redraft, they're what?
QB2.
But you're not willing to start them?
I mean, I'm obviously going to draft a quarterback before round 13, 14 where they fall, right? So, I mean, I don't think I'm starting them unless I have injuries. But if it's dynasty, I'm buying. Yeah.
I'm starting either one of them. The ceiling for in redraft. I'm starting either one of them in redraft because the ceiling is so high, right? I shoot for the ceiling. Nobody wins fantasy football championships with a safe floor.
That's true. I agree.
So I love the ceiling play for both of them, especially the value. The value plus ceiling, it's like match made in heaven. These guys are league winners.
I agree, but I mean, God, if you're gonna wait past round 9 for a quarterback, then those would be the two I'd target. Or round 10, you might have Goff fall there. I'd rather have Goff,
So who would you rather in redraft? Who would you rather draft? Okay, because like we're agreeing too much, so I need to start pissing you off. Who would you rather?
I'm going with Will Levis because I like the height.
No, that wasn't my question. Who would you rather go with? Bryce Young or Deshaun Watson? And where's Deshaun Watson currently being drafted, and where's Bryce Young currently being drafted? Talk to me. Who would you rather go and redraft if you had to pick one?
I'm going with Deshaun.
Not even super flex, just basic.
I'm going with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, you're an idiot. I'm kidding. I love you. I respect you. I'm kidding. I'm going with Bryce Young all day, every day over Deshaun Watson. 100%. One person has a lot to prove. One person feels like he's just playing for nothing.
So Deshaun Watson is going about 4 rounds earlier than Bryce Young.
There you go.
And you get Bryce Young at a 4-round later value. Okay.
Yeah.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah. Well, one has a QB whisper. The other one doesn't want to play football anymore, and he's coming off of a shoulder surgery on the throwing arm.
The question is do you like Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen, Ja'Tavion Sanders better than Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku?
Don't forget about Jonathan Mingo. Everybody's sleeping on
Jonathan Mingo. That's right.
He's out there still going to be involved. He's still going to be involved, and he's going undrafted in best ball drafts on Drafters Fantasy. If you sign up today using promo code SLEAZE, he will double your initial deposit up to $100 on Drafters Fantasy Sports.
That is right.
Yeah, man, he's going undrafted. I think he's an absolute steal in the 20th round in Drafters Fantasy Sports best ball tournaments. I'd still take a shot on him in redraft as well, especially in the very late rounds. I like the receiving core because, Cooper, he's on his way out. Like, what goes up must come down. I think he's on the come down. Jerry Jeudy.
Cooper just tweeted today that he's trying to get the bag. He's coming for a redemption this season.
Jerry Jeudy's been on a slight decline, so we'll see if he'll revitalize his career. Elijah Moore has never been him. Right? He's always been hyped up, but he's never been him. I look at David Njoku, and I love the player. I think David Njoku is so talented. I just hate the situation because he doesn't get targeted because, they really, really, really hate. Deshaun Watson hates, targeting the tight end position. He loves his number 1 wide receiver for sure. So like Cooper is a smash, but like you can't look at what they did last year and be like, okay, well, David Njoku,
right.
David Njoku broke football. He was one of the best players in football, period, in the last 6-7 weeks. We're just going to go away from that. You can't look at that as well. So, yeah. Anyways, this is off to a great start.
Okay. So we both. So are you on Bryce? You're obviously on Bryce Young. We're gonna both jump on a grenade for him on that one.
Heck yeah.
We're gonna catch up with chat real quick. What's up, Who Hames? What's up, James? I see the Tennessee O-line. Bear Pete from Sports Affiliation. What's good, my guy? Hussein 49ers in the building with a Brock Purdy logo. I love that. Willie, how we doing?
He used to be Ayuk. I remember Hussein used to be Ayuk, but now he switched over to the Brock Purdy.
Anything bang bang Niner game is fine with me. Okay, heading to the running back side. The first player I'm going to throw at you is Najee Harris. Grenade or fade at his ADP value, which his value right now is going at end of round 6 or end of round 5.
This is PPR?
This is PPR.
Fade.
Bye. He's fading Najee Harris. Why are we fading Najee Harris on a contract year?
So the contract year, fading Najee Harris goes against everything I believe, especially on a contract year. Because when a running back is on a contract year, more often than not, they go out and they secure the bag. They'll play through injuries. Despite that, I'm not fading Najee Harris because I don't like the player. I don't like the talent. I'm fading Najee Harris because I hate Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith is so unreliable. He's such a – it's like you don't know what you're going to get with him, right? And like the one time Arthur Smith had a good running back, he only had to use that one good running back because Ryan Tannehill was the quarterback, right? Derrick Henry was good enough. Is Najee Harris in that offensive line good enough to replicate any sort of –
They had a great draft. I mean,
for sure. Roman Wilson, good pick. They
draft in the NFL.
They improved that O-line, but like, do we think that these guys, these Pittsburgh Steelers, are going to be a in-your-face, violent run team with what they currently have? And if I'm thinking PPR, I'm thinking no matter what, Jalen Warren's going to have to get in and get his, right? Because believe it or not, Jalen Warren's still kind of playing for the bag as well. So they're both competing for the bag, and they're both going relatively around the same area. I'd much rather the guy who has the receiver upside in a PPR format than a touchdown-dependent Najee Harris, with a lot of uncertainties coming from offensive coordinator. Like there's no trend to follow there. There really is. They're going to run the ball a lot. Both guys are going to eat, but I'd much rather get Jalen Warren because, especially in PPR format, because he's a better receiver and he gets all the receiving work. So that just means he's a higher ceiling play and a safer floor.
Okay, so if I had to throw anything at you, I would throw he's been a 1,000-yard rusher for 3 straight seasons, and people seem to forget this. The only problem I have with him is his ADP is too high. Would you be okay with him in round 8 or 9? Does that make it better for you, or is round 6 too high?
It's okay. So let me ask you a question. In PPR format, what does 1,000 rushing yards get you? What does that translate into points?
100.
Okay. So that's 100 fantasy points. Divide that by 17.
Plus the touchdowns. Plus, he also had
so he's
receptions his rookie year.
He's that's his rookie year. But we're talking about a back in his 4th year where a team refused to pick up his 5th year option.
Right.
So let me ask you, has his receiving prowess improved or gotten worse?
I mean, the quarterback play has been abysmal, so it's definitely gotten worse.
Okay, has it improved? Okay, so the same quarterback play, has it improved or gotten worse for Jalen Warren?
It's gotten better for Jalen Warren in the receiving every year, and it's gotten worse for Najee Harris every year.
Okay, so if we're talking about touchdown upside, sure, Najee could fall into the end zone a couple of times, but Jalen Warren can take it big. He's a bigger splash play. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I love the ceiling play. You don't win fantasy football tournaments being safe. You have to go big or go home, right? You got to go big or go home, and I think Jalen Warren's the better play here. So for that, if I have to go with a 50-50 choice, I'm taking Jalen Warren 10 times out of 10.
Okay. So does Justin Fields or Russell Wilson sway anything, or is it just completely no-go either way?
I think Justin Fields spreads the ball out a little bit more. If Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback, I'm worried about Pat Freiermuth. I'm very excited for George Pickens.
Right.
If Justin Fields is a starting quarterback, George Pickens is still going to eat. He's still going to get his, but he distributes the ball a lot better. So I think Freiermuth will get involved. I think the running backs will get involved in the passing game a little bit more. But Russell Wilson's a one-trick pony. He likes the deep ball. He likes the deep fade, and that's beautiful for George Pickens.
I agree. I am also going to be fading Najee at his ADP, but for me, if he falls like 1 or 2 rounds more, I'd like his value right there. I feel like round 8 or 9 is perfect, but round 6 is too high. Yeah. So we're both fading there. Who do you got for me next?
Alvin Kamara.
Oh my God, Alvin Kamara. Now, if anyone in fantasy that plays fantasy can explain to me while Alvin Kamara is going off the board at RB17, and he finished his RB11 last year, missing 4 games, and he almost averaged like 17 points a game, damn near CMC and Kyron Williams numbers. The only thing that could scare me away from Alvin Kamara is later in the season. I don't think the Saints will be competitive. I don't think they're playing for a playoff spot. I could see them bringing Spencer Rattler. I could see them bringing Kendre Miller, try to get younger, see what they have in pieces. That is the only thing that scares me away from Alvin Kamara at all. I'm drafting him at all costs, jumping on every grenade. Smash.
Yeah. You look at what they did in the offseason, and it's like, what do you need to do to make a running back's life easier? You address the offensive line, right? And they brought in Fuaga, one of the scariest human beings at the right tackle position. And that's the position you want to fortify if you're investing in the run game, right? If we're talking about just straight up as a running back, Kamara's last year was awful, right? But if we're talking about PPR,
receiving
6.6, not targets, 6.6 receptions per game since he came back from suspension. The only thing that concerns me is he's going to be utilized a lot in negative game script where they're playing from behind. It may be tough for him to get involved, especially since, there's only one other receiver. I'm higher on Olave than I am on Kamara, but I'll draft both of them because the upside.
Do you think Chris Olave is going to outscore Alvin Kamara?
Yeah, hell yeah. Look at that wide receiver room. Who else is there? Like, yes, Shaheed is a great ceiling play. Don't get me wrong, but like
I would say that Alvin Kamara is going to outscore if he plays all 17 games. I think he outscores Olave with ease.
So then Kamara should be a league winner currently where he's being drafted on draft and everywhere else. 100%. Totally.
I agree.
I think Kamara is a must draft, but if I'm looking there, I'm thinking, okay, well, he has Jamal Williams, who was useless last year, and Kendre Miller behind him, right?
Right.
And he's not a great runner. He's a great receiver, right? If you look at the receivers, who does Olave have pushing behind him? Cedric Wilson, Rashid Shaheed, A.T. Perry, a bunch of guys who've shown flashes, right? Who've shown flashes, but they've never been him. One of them is going to emerge as the second guy there. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong.
I like Shaheed a lot this year.
For sure. As a ceiling play, Shaheed's spectacular, especially with the new return rules. He's phenomenal. But like, people are still saying, A.T. Perry could be him. Cedric Wilson came there for a reason. Cedric Wilson looked nice a couple of games in his career. Yeah, for sure. I'm reaching. But what I'm saying is, like, if we're talking about a pure alpha in his alpha situation, Olave is a smash. I know we're talking about Alvin Kamara here, and like his upside, like the ceiling there is pretty much limitless with his PPR ability. I just don't think that they're going to be marching a lot. So his negative touchdown.
I think they're playing from behind, and he just eats 15 receptions a game.
Yeah, but
or 15 targets.
You're gonna have to throw the ball downfield, right?
Yeah.
You can't get 10 receptions every game as a running back. You can't do that and be in a winning formula. I don't think they're gonna be competitive. I think they're gonna be playing from behind a lot.
Does Kendre Miller scare you at all?
No. Like it's Kamara because the value is too good. I like Kamara, but I'm not gonna just say I'm gonna draft Kamara blindly and get 100% exposure to Kamara. There are several risks. Like they, more often than not, like you mentioned, they are going to be playing in negative game scripts or game scripts where he's just not really going to be looked at a lot because they're going to be playing from behind. And that scares me. That scares me a lot, especially with the new offensive coordinator there. So it's an interesting situation. He's definitely somebody who I'm gonna draft as much as I possibly can at ADP, but I'm also going to be cautious as well. So yeah,
I'm on the smash Kamara. Okay, who do you got for me next? Or no, it's me now. Okay,
no, it's you now.
All right, my second running back I'm going to head to you is Zamir the Zeus White. Grenade or fade?
I'm jumping on that grenade all day, every day. You look at what they're trying to do in that division, right? Every team in the AFC West wants to do one thing and one thing only. They want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They realize they can't beat the Chiefs by investing in defense, right? Because the Chiefs will still outscore your defense. It doesn't matter. You can't beat the Chiefs by going into a shootout with the Chiefs. We've seen it. The Keenan Allens, the Mike Williams. We've seen it. We've seen these super teams that have been assembled in the offseason with a lot of money being spent. The only formula you have a chance to beat the Chiefs is running the rock. You have to control.
Take the clock away. Yeah.
Take the clock away. If you control the clock, by running the rock, you give yourself an advantage of keeping one of the best quarterbacks to ever play football off of the field, right? So, with that being said, any starting running back in the AFC West there, I'm smashing, especially Zamir. It's a smash mouth football team, a coach who loves to pound the rock. When Zamir came on, he came on late and he was spectacular. They showed that they didn't need a guy like Josh Jacobs because they're invested in him. He looks faster, he looks bigger, he looks stronger, and he's a threat in the receiving game. And we haven't really seen that. They brought in another tight end. They have two spectacular tight ends. They're going to be playing in 12-man fronts more often than not, right? Which means that they're going to favor the run a lot. And he's going to get involved early and often. And I think he has league-winning upside at his current value. Zamir, I'll jump on that grenade all day, every day. If I'm wrong, so be it. I've been wrong before, and I'm definitely willing to be wrong here.
I 100% agree, and we've been agreeing too much. So I'm going to go and try to get a disagree argument here for you on this side. I mean, I love Zamir as well at his ADP. But Alexander Mattison and Labe, any scare for you there for him at all?
Not one bit. Nothing about an earlobe or Madison scares me at all. I'm not worried. I think Labe, sure, if he does do anything, it's not going to be on offense. It's going to be in the return game. Should he be the returner there? Other than that, Madison, no, he's not him. Madison, I'm totally out on. The depreciation has hit him as a running back. If we're talking about a running back who has a lot to offer and a lot of value, and somebody who's trying to earn his keep, it's Zamir White. He was a spectacular runner in college, spectacular every time we see him in the NFL, and I don't think we're gonna, we've seen his best yet. So I'm very excited to see what he does this year.
I totally agree. I was trying to go on the other side, but I'm fully on board with Zamir White. I mean, the guy was like RB9 last season in his 4 starts. He was incredible, and he can even catch the ball at the backfield. So I mean, I don't see any Alexander Mattison or Labe or any talk like that hurting him. I'm definitely jumping on that grenade at the same time. So we are now. You got one more running back. Fire at me. Who you got?
Tony Pollard.
Oh my God, we talk about Tony Pollard all the time during drafters too. I don't know. At his ADP position, which is currently around like 89, 90 right now, depending if you play half point or full point, if I'm jumping on the grenade for him or fading him at that value, because Tyjae Spears is right there next to him. I like Pollard better. Obviously, he was running back 14 last year still, like people forget. And he was, I'm going to use your word, learning how to walk again off his injury. And he was playing split with Zeke. I think it's going to be like a 50-50 timeshare. I don't really like jumping on grenades for players that aren't going to get a full 70+% workload. But I think the value is still there. So it's like a grenade fade right in the middle for me. I love what the Titans are doing with the offensive line. They brought, and I think James commented they have one starter from last year, but they brought in tons of help. They brought in Latham. They brought in, I forgot the guy's name already, Lloyd. It's going to be a new and improved. I mean, no more Derrick Henry. You're going to see a totally different Titans offensive look here. I'm excited to see it, but I don't know if I'm jumping on a grenade for him. Like I'm super high to get him. I'm like right in the middle.
All right.
Persuade me how to jump on the grenade.
All right. So let's go into let's go into like a super zen mode. And like while we zen out, I want you to like close your eyes. And I want you to like
you want to zen me out?
Yeah, okay. Let's zen the fuck out, okay? So I want you to like close your eyes and I want you to put yourself in the general manager's shoes of the Tennessee Titans, okay? We're practicing empathy today.
All right.
Now with this empathetical practice, what I want you to do is I want you to think, you know what? Does Tyjae Spears have standalone value? Because if Derrick Henry goes, I mean, we saw Josh Jacobs go and the Raiders said, you know what? We're happy with Zamir White and his standalone value. We can bring in Shmeez like an earlobe and Madison and be completely fine because we believe in Zamir, right? But then you got a Shmee like Tyjae Spears, and I wouldn't call him a Shmee. He's all right. But you got a guy like Tyjae Spears, and you look at him and it's like, sure, he should be next up and he should have standalone value, but why would I bring in a Tony Pollard? So go ahead. Go ahead. Why would I bring in a Tony Pollard?
Because the guy's injury risk, having 2 torn ACLs in his career already, is through the roof at his age. I think that's why. I mean, he'll never be a standalone value running back.
Who, Tony Pollard or Tyjae?
Tyjae.
Okay. So With that being said, currently Tony Pollard is being drafted in what, round 10, round 11 in best ball drafts? Where is he being drafted in redraft right now? In PPR
89.
format? No, in
89 ADP.
PPR format, sir. He's being drafted
PPR?
as player 100.
Yep.
Are you telling me there's going to be 99 better players than Tony Pollard, a guy who's had a full offseason from, like you mentioned earlier, he went from learning how to walk again to playing running back in the NFL. He went from learning how to walk again to playing running back in the NFL. And yes, he struggled early on, but the offense still flourished, especially down the stretch, because he was playing really, really good ball down the stretch.
He did.
You saw the anatomical
back.
adaptation. You saw the reps come in. So now with a full season of explosive training, agility training, speed training, a full offseason where he's actually dedicated to the craft and not just learning how to walk again. Tony Pollard, you telling me he's not a top 100 player in the NFL right now in PPR format?
I'm not going against it. He's not a top 100 player. It's just hard with the split back for me to jump on it. I have to see it first. I do think Tony Pollard is going to be an improvement from last year. Yes. I just don't know if I could jump on a grenade in a 50-50 split.
I'm smashing that all day, every day. Draft it. Oh, smashing
it.
Yeah,
okay.
Smashing that.
All right.
All right.
I'm on the fence on that one. Heading over to the wide receiver side. Let me fire one at you here. So we've done quarterbacks: Watson, Lawrence, Bryce Young, Brock Purdy, Najee Harris, Zamir White, and Kamara and Pollard. The wide receiver side is going to be fun. I like this one a lot. I'm going to start off with the Bills wide receiver group, and it's a smash or grenade or fade kind of thing with you name who you think the wide receiver one's going to be to start.
Oh, fuck.
Yep, this one's tough.
Okay, so I've been preaching Curtis Samuel pretty much all offseason. And then my buddy Adrian, who was like the guy who I should have listened to last year because he called Puka Nacua early. He called Tank Dell early. He called Devon A-Chain early. He called all those smash plays. We did call Sam Laporta and Jaden Reed, but we were dead wrong about a lot of players. With that being said,
Laporta.
He finds these like really fun stories that like it makes sense, right? And he's like, Keon Coleman's my guy. It's like, why is Keon Coleman your guy? Like, I don't think he's like, yeah, sure, he's got great upside, very talented, good jump ball player. His routes could use improvement. He said there was a text sent out before the draft where Josh Allen texted Keon Coleman. Okay, this isn't even a football thing. He said, He said Josh Allen texted Keon Coleman saying, "You're my guy. We want you. I want to draft you." They were okay passing up on
Xavier Worthy.
They were okay passing up on all those guys that went before him because they wanted Keon Coleman. If one of the best quarterbacks in football in the NFL today, and you can say whatever the hell you want about Josh Allen, but the dude is a baller with a big arm.
Yeah.
If he wants you there, and there are almost 400 vacated targets with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis being gone, and he wants you there, the only thing stopping Keon Coleman from being an absolute smash this year is injuries. And like Keon Coleman seems like he's a funny, good dude.
Oh, dude, his press conferences are hilarious.
He's character. He seems like he cares about ball, and he thinks he seems like he looks like he wants to improve something, right? He doesn't have like you go from a diva like Stephon Diggs, and don't get me wrong, like Stephon Diggs, sure, great in fantasy football early on last year, down the stretch, disappeared.
He was very bad down the stretch.
Very, very good football player, terrible teammate. Keon Coleman is the polar opposite. He's a breath of fresh air there. So if we're talking about somebody who is going to revitalize a franchise and who has a lot of opportunity with the vacated targets, 100%, I'm smashing that all day. Keon Coleman.
Smashing Keon Coleman. So no Khalil Shakir thought in there at all?
No, not one.
And with Joe Brady now, and
if we're talking redraft, safe floor, high ceiling, Keon Coleman. He's the only one that makes sense. If we're talking about just the safe floor, Curtis Samuel. If we're talking about high ceiling, maybe a best ball play, Khalil Shakir.
So you got all three. I like that. That was perfect. That's exactly what I would say at the same time.
But it could also be Chase Claypool. It could also be Mac Hollins. It could also be, who knows?
I just think the wide receiver one's going to be Kincaid.
I am so out on Kincaid this year. Like everybody's drafting him so high. I don't think he finishes as a top tight end this season.
A tight end?
He runs like he has two left feet.
Oh man, I love
His
Kincaid this
routes
year.
are not. His routes are the opposite of crisp, and Dawson Knox is still there.
Dawson Knox is still there. Yeah.
Dawson Knox goes undrafted or drafted in round 20, has just as good of a shot to finish in the top 10 as a tight end as Dalton Kincaid has this year. I'd much rather get the value in Dawson Knox later on than I would in reaching on Dalton Kincaid. Because if you reach on Kincaid and you're wrong, you are passing up on so many talented football players. So many
in that round, yeah.
At that value, that ADP, if you're wrong at that, like you can't be wrong at the tight end position. There's so many great late round values, including Dawson Knox, who needs to be drafted.
I don't think I would ever feel safe starting Dawson Knox in redraft, but
I would 100%.
He's more of a shot in the dark kind of touchdown dependent tight end. But
they both are. They really both are. If we're talking about what's going to make either one of them good this year, what's going to make either one of them stand out, it's touchdown upside because they're not going to kill it with volume.
Oh, I think Dalton Kincaid's going to see massive volume.
Dalton Kincaid can get locked up by a linebacker. That's awful.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on that one to see.
Right, I am out on Kincaid. That's another one. I'm out on Kincaid. You should have mentioned him, but he doesn't fall in that range. But I'm out.
Okay. Okay, so we were jumping on a grenade for Keon Coleman. I don't know if I'm. So here's the thing. If I have to give an argument back to Keon Coleman here, his ADP right now, okay, Keon Coleman is currently going 74. Okay, so he's right around Jackson Smith and Jigba, Christian Watson, Brian Thomas Jr., Ladd McConkey. Obviously, I like Ladd McConkey more. I like him more than Jordan Addison. Do you like him more than Brian Thomas Jr.? Because the volume he'll see more?
That stuff. BTJ is my guy.
Okay.
Yeah, BTJ is my guy.
I like how we doing, Dan? Welcome in, brother. Kincaid broke the Bills rookie record for receptions. I know. I'm all in on Kincaid, man. I'm fully
but like
fully out.
What was the previous rookie record for the Bills?
Not good.
Not good, right? So
Not
like
good. I don't even know a Bills tight end in all time.
Everything is contextual. If we're talking about context, sure, it's great for the Bills. But you know what else is great for the Bills? A full-on mustard and ketchup bukkake at the tailgate. That's what's great for the Bills, okay? So don't tell me, oh, he broke the Bills rookie record for receptions. It's irrelevant. It's carry on. I'm sorry.
Okay. So
we got to clip that. We definitely need to clip that.
I'm clipping that. I'm going to stick with – I'm in the middle still on Keon Coleman. I don't know if I jump on a grenade from his ADP yet, but he could prove me wrong. Your points were amazing. Who do we got next here coming up? Fire one out. You did BTJ.
I got Brian Thomas Jr.
We kind of talked about BTJ.
Yeah, go Brian Thomas Jr. There you go.
Okay, so Brian Thomas Jr., I had to pull this up because I saw someone tweet it a long time ago, so I went and did a little look at it. Look, my man's RAS, okay? So if you don't know what RAS is, it's Relative Athletic Score. They do great work, all combines, everything for every player. It's how you can literally get the athleticism build from not being there and finding out about a player. So Brian Thomas Jr., the highest score you can get is a 10, and he had a 9.84, and the only thing that brought him down is literally his bench reps, right? Which you can fix in the gym. He only did 11 reps, which is 3 very low. Red was terrible. His strength is not there. If you've watched this guy play, I mean, I still think how do I put this? I still think that he's going to be good for his value, but I like Christian Kirk to be the wide receiver 1. I do think by the second half of the season, you'll start to see Brian Thomas take the 1 spot. And I just think Evan Ingram's going to eat so much as well. There's so many mouths to feed. I don't know if I'm super high on him in redraft. I think I'm going to fade him. Yep. Let's hear it.
If we look at just what he did at LSU as a quote-unquote wide receiver 2 to Malik Neighbors, who in my opinion is a more versatile and polished wide receiver than Christian Kirk currently. He still was neck and neck with Malik Neighbors by doing what every fantasy football owner should be looking for, which is just being a very reliable splash play, ceiling plays. So on a week-to-week basis, sure, he can maybe go for like 5 points, but like on the upside, he can go for 50 points because he is such a spectacular splash play. Yeah, for sure. I think I would not be shocked. Okay, I would not be shocked.
How many wide receivers went for 50 points last season?
Maybe
CeeDee Lamb,
Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, and Amari Cooper.
Oh yeah, at the end of the year, Amari had that nuts game like week 17.
Yeah. I think he has that ability, just being a spectacular ceiling play in the situation he's in with Trevor Lawrence. So I think if you're looking for if once again
I'd have to look that up to see if a rookie's ever hit 50 points in there as a rookie. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, but there's I don't think there's ever been a season where a rookie tight end finishes a tight end 1, right?
Yeah,
there's a reason why I'm very invested in this guy. As I said, I don't care about the floor. Like if I'm wrong and this guy's floor is non-existent, it's fine. But if I'm right about the ceiling, he's a league winner.
Then it's lights out.
Yeah, then it's a lights out. So I'm not trying to sway you. I know it's my job to persuade you, but like I'm invested. If I'm wrong, I'm betting like I'm right, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Okay, I'm with that.
What did Dan Neely say?
We got Dan saying Brian Thomas Jr. might be the best deep threat to come into the league since Randy Moss. I would not be shocked if he scores 10 TDs this season. He was my draft crush this season as a Bills fan. Okay, Dan. I mean, I'm kind of.
I like you, Dan.
Rookie hype gets everybody, man. I'm telling you, it does. I got to see it first. There's too many mouths to feed. Evan Ingram had 115 receptions last year, man, and it's just going to get better.
I like you a lot, Dan. You're great. you're great, dude, Dan. What's up, Dan? Hope you're having a great day, Dan.
On, dude. All right, so we're sitting in the middle with Coleman. I will fire my second wide receiver at you. It's going to be a little deeper here dive on this one, and I actually really like this guy a lot, and it's Wan'Dale Robinson. Grenade or fade for Wan'Dale Robinson at his ADP, which is currently 182.
I'm fading him.
You're fading him. Okay. After your boy CeeDee Lamb just said he's one of the best route runners in the NFL yesterday too. Okay.
Absolutely.
Why are we fading him?
So if we look at the prospect of Malik Neighbors, if we look at the prospect of Wan'Dale, Jalen Hyatt, these are all good wide receivers, good prospects. Nothing wrong with the players, right? Biggest lesson I taught myself from last season is do not fall in love with the players, fall in love with the situations. And when I look at the situation in New York, I look at a team that's offensive line hasn't improved. It really hasn't. I look at a situation where the quarterback situation is very volatile and it hasn't improved either. Daniel Jones is coming off of a pretty gruesome knee injury. And even if he's healthy and ready to go with the knee, there's still the neck situation that could be his neck. It could be a season ender at any given moment in time, right? There's also the factor that we might see another contract situation where, like Russell Wilson, wasn't able to complete his season, even though he was balling out spectacular. They went with a backup situation so he wouldn't get his insurance policy or his injury.
Yeah.
Injury. So I think Daniel Jones is like one of the top prospects for that happening this year as well. If I'm looking at that team, do I think that team is going to be competitive and winning a lot of games? No. Do I think that team is going to run the ball more often than not? Yes. Do I think Daniel Jones is going to throw more picks than that? Yes. So if I'm looking at Wan'Dale Robinson and I need Wan'Dale Robinson in redraft, I'm retiring from fantasy football.
Okay. I mean, the volume and targets will be there. When you say they're going to run the ball, I know last year they were down in a lot of games running the ball just to save face, kind of. But that was with Saquon Barkley. They're not going to be able to do that with Devin Singletary. Let's be real.
So if you're looking, when you're projecting a good wide receiver, what metrics are you searching for when you're saying, okay, this guy's going to be a good wide receiver? Because saying, okay, with all due respect, okay, and I know you're better than this, so I'm challenging you right now. I'm really challenging you to bring it front of you, okay? With all due respect, every receiver in the NFL is a good route runner.
Yeah.
They're good at running routes. So telling me a wide receiver is good at running routes, like, bitch, it's the fucking NFL. Everybody who plays wide receiver in the NFL is good at running routes. I need more.
No, I'm not saying it's good that CeeDee Lamb gives him a pump up. That's all. That's all I'm saying there.
A tweet is not a metric. What metrics do you look for? What metrics do you look for?
When they're this deep in the draft, when I'm looking for a wide receiver, I'm always looking for a slot guy with volume. And that is exactly what Wan'Dale Robinson is. He's just been hampered by injuries. I feel like his talent is there. If you've ever watched him run at speed, the way he can beat man coverage and find the zone is very good.
I think he's
had no quarterback play.
I think he's shifty and fast. As I said, I don't hate the player. If his quarterback play is a question mark, if we're talking about air yards per opportunity, if we're talking about target share, if we're talking about all that stuff, these are all red flags. Just because you like the player and you draft him in Madden doesn't mean he's going to be a smash in fantasy football. If we're talking best ball, yes, I will get exposure to him, not at a high volume. But if we're talking about redraft league, right? League, if this guy is on your team, he better be like on a very, very deep bench, because if you have to flex him or start
he's going to be.
You're fucked.
He's going to be at, wide receiver 5 or 6 on your team.
So if he's going to be a wide receiver 5 or 6, why are you jumping on that? Why are you jumping on a grenade? You might
because I like the value a lot around him. So, I mean, if you look at what we'd be looking at, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, Demarcus Robinson, Michael Wilson, Rashad Bateman, Malachi Corley, Devontae Walker, all these guys, I'd rather have Wan'Dale Robinson by a mile.
Okay, so what pick did you say he goes off the board as?
162 on
ADP. All right, 162. Okay, so you still have yours on half PPR or standard?
I'm on full PPR score at 163. Wan'Dale Robinson, yeah.
163.
Yep.
Okay. All right, let's look around there. Okay, you're right. I'd prefer Wan'Dale over Roman Wilson. Okay, 100%.
I like Pop.
Do I prefer him over Rashad Bateman?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
If we're talking about a team with good blocking, a good quarterback, a good situation,
I don't care. Rashad Bateman is done.
A guy who's in a situation where he needs to perform or he's out of the league, I like Rashad Bateman here. I prefer Rashad Bateman. Malachi Corley, I would give it to Wan'Dale. I would definitely give it to Wan'Dale, right? Malachi Corley is a great ceiling play, probably a great returner, but he's very raw. He's not a refined runner. Of Demario Douglas all day. I'm smashing Douglas all day, right? Troy Franklin.
I agree with that.
If Troy Franklin could be okay, he could be fine. But when we look at Demarcus Robinson on a week-to-week basis for the last 5-6 weeks of the season last year was a top 5 wide receiver.
If injury happens to Demarcus Robinson, I'd take over him. If not, no. If Cup and Puka are out there, I'm never starting Demarcus Robinson. Let's be real.
Demarcus Robinson is their third wide receiver.
Yeah, he's a home run hitter. Yeah.
If he's not even a home run hitter, he's a runner too. He's a returner as well. Like Demarcus Robinson does it all, and he's fast. Like he will run the rock. He will run the rock. He's
Sean McVay draws up amazing plays. I agree with that. Yeah,
totally. He's gonna get involved. I'm 100% taking Demarcus Robinson over.
Demarcus Robinson had 23 rush yards last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, like he's ran it in the past. I'm not saying he runs.
I had to check it. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Marvin Mims ceiling play average 19 yards per reception. I'd much rather get a ceiling play at this value later on than I would get a guy who runs good routes as a wide receiver.
He's interesting to me because I don't know how the Denver Bronco wide receiver is going to play out yet. So Marvin Mims is interesting.
I think I would much rather get Luke McCaffrey over Wan'Dale Robinson currently.
Oh, no way. No way.
Currently.
No. Everyone, rookie hype's got to stop. No,
it's not even rookie hype.
Wan'Dale all day over Luke McCaffrey.
If I'm talking about a refined route runner on an offense that I like with an offensive coordinator that I like, I look at Luke McCaffrey and I love him as a wide receiver 3 there. He's going to be good. He's going to be solid.
Okay.
I think I'm willing to place a bet right now. Friendly wager.
Okay. Here we go.
That Luke McCaffrey will outscore Wan'Dale Robinson in PPR format in fantasy football this year.
Oh, I'll take that all day.
Yeah,
I'll take that. What are we betting?
I just said friendly wager.
Friendly wager? Okay. Lock it in.
Yeah.
Lock it in.
All right, let's move on.
Moving on. Okay, that was your turn, or that was mine. I believe that was mine. Yeah, that was me.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Jay season in the building. The new OC, new head coach in Seattle, comes from Washington. They're going to be flying the ball around. DK is going to be all over the field. They're already updating that. And they just said Jay Season's already taken the wide receiver 2 spot. Look what this guy did last year down the stretch. Jay Season, I'm buying, smash, grenade, everything. even over Tyler Lockett. I wouldn't even draft Tyler Lockett this year just because I'm so DKJ season. And the only thing that worries me is that Geno Smith. For some reason I have this thing in my head that I want to see Sam out there, and I want to see Sam slinging it like he did with the Commanders last year. Geno's old and washed up, but he's still kind of hanging on. I don't know what to say about Geno. That's the only thing that worries me is Geno Smith.
He just witnessed our wager. Shout out to James FBO.
Witness the wager.
This is a good chat. This is good. Yeah, like you mentioned, they brought in the offensive coordinator from the University of Washington. More often than not, they go 3 wide receivers under Ben Grubb.
What is his name? Huff? I forgot. I don't want to Grubb. Okay, there we go. Yeah. I don't want to say it wrong.
More often than not, they go 3 wide receiver sets there. He went 3 wide receiver sets a lot, and they got the 3 wide receivers to do it. I don't like the quarterback play, but both quarterbacks present great value. If I'm looking at JSN, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, any of them that are coming or falling, I'm drafting them. I'm smashing that. If I look at that wide receiver core, I need to leave every draft with at least one of those guys. So smash.
I think they're going to have 550 plus pass attempts.
They should.
But if you had to pick, is Jay Season better with Geno or is he better with Howell?
I would say he's better with Geno. Geno presents more touch on his passes, whereas Howell's more like a deep play. Like Howell, if I'm just straight up looking at what he does, Howell is great at just like putting it up there and letting his players come down with it. If we're talking about touch, when a player gets open, because like JSN, yes, he can get open. Yes, he can beat you deep, but where JSN specials his run running.
Dude, Howell was like QB7 at the start of last season.
For sure,
10 games.
But look at the players that Howell targeted and the players that were beneficial. Like
Terry McLaurin.
He didn't place the ball with touch, right? He placed the ball deep and let his players go up and get it. And if I'm thinking about players going up and going and get it, it's DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, right? But if I'm talking about Geno Smith, I think Geno Smith, even though he's not him and he was rightfully written off, Geno's better for JSN because Geno has more touch and he's more of a refined passer. But that's like saying, would you like powdered sugar covered shit, or would you like sprinkled covered shit? It's both shit. Both quarterbacks fucking suck, right?
I agree. Okay, I'm with that. Okay, so I'm gonna go with grenade on that. You're going grenade, obviously, with Jay Season as well, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay, heading over to tight ends. We're already an hour and a half in. We got to make this quick, or hour in. All right, so tight ends. I'm gonna shoot at you. Let's make this fast on this round. I'm gonna go Dalton Schultz. Grenade or fade?
If I'm talking
ADP value right now on Dalton Schultz is, we find it 131, tight end 13 off the board.
Yeah, if I'm talking about wanting to invest in the offense of the Houston Texans, right? I look at the Houston Texans. So every time I do a breakdown, I always look at all facets, all position groups, and I give them a grade at the end of the season, right? Or before I draft them. I have my charts. I have everybody gets a grade. I also look at strength of schedule for that position. Now, strength of schedule is irrelevant, but when I'm looking at that offense and I want to get exposure to that offense, it starts with the quarterback and the wide receivers. Not only is there less target opportunity with a new wide receiver in the house, but there's less. He's just going to disappear in general.
I think he does as well.
He has as good a chance to have as many fantasy points as Brevin Jordan this fantasy season, and they're both not going to have a lot of fantasy points. So at that value at the tight end position, where did you say he was going in the PFF?
131 at tight end 13 off the board. But you're getting around 12 value, around late round 11, but depending on if you play 12 man, 14 man,
Okay, so let's look at which tight ends go. Pat Freiermuth, I would 100% take. He's going 6 picks after, and I'm not high on Pat Freiermuth.
The only one that's a good debate is Cole Kmet because they're in the same situation: 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end.
Yeah, I'd still take Cole Kmet. 100% take Cole Kmet.
Over Schultz?
Over Schultz. Musgrave, I'd take over Schultz. TJ Hawkinson, probably not. And then how far down do I? Hunter Henry, I'd take over him. Jelani Woods, I'd take over him.
Jelani, the man meat.
There's a lot of players with a lot. Isaiah Likely, I would 100% take over him. Benson, I would take over him.
Dude, the Isaiah Likely hype even picked up more today after that trade. God.
What trade?
In your league. I was like, why are you trading Isaiah Likely?
It's my league, and I don't even pay attention to it. I just let it happen. Let it happen, man.
I'm fading Dalton Schultz 100% at his value. I don't think he's going to see any production as the fourth option. Joe Mixon probably sees more catches than him. So, I mean, I'm out completely on Dalton Schultz, fading 100%.
Yeah.
Who do you got for me next, heading into the title?
I've been hyping this guy up from the draft. He was one of my favorite tight end prospects coming into this draft. Now, last year I went down saying, Sam Laporta will finish the season as tight end 1. I'm not saying that about this guy. I am not. I'm not. And I said it last May about Sam Laporta, but I'm saying this guy's going to make some noise. He's a phenomenal athlete, excellent prospect, one of the top scoring tight ends ever in terms of just athletic metrics, and that's Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson of the New York Giants. I said you need to start drafting him. Draft him now because he was completely free. Nobody was talking about him because Darren Waller wasn't quite making music videos, but now Darren Waller's retired. We know Daniel Bellinger is a good football player, but he's better at blocking than he is as a receiver. Clearly, they brought Darren Waller into that offense when they made the trade for him because they invested in Darren Waller, and they liked what Darren Waller could do under Dable in that offense. But they drafted Theo Johnson, who in comparison is the exact same player. So I wonder, Theo Johnson, did I sell you on him? Are you jumping on that grenade for me, brother?
I am 100% fading bye to Theo Johnson, but I will show you his RAS score. So I picked it up when you were talking about it. I mean, look at this man, bro. A 10 is the highest score you can get. He gets a 993. The highest score ever recorded was a 998 by Jelani Woods, who we just talked about as well. This guy's athletic metric is through the roof. The same thing with Brian Thomas Jr. The only thing that brought him down was his bench, which you can fix by working out. I just can't get along with Danny Dimes and this offense. Daniel Bellinger. They don't know how it's going to play out yet. If he does win the job, obviously the volume is going to be there, the opportunity. But I don't think I'm starting Theo Johnson feeling nice about starting him at tight end ever. I gotta fade it. It's going to be impossible to convince me Danny Dimes is there. I can't do it.
All right. So, full circle moment. I'm willing to make another friendly wager here. That Theo Johnson will get more receptions and receiving yards than Wan'Dale Robinson in that offense.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take both. Yeah, I'll take it.
Cool. Bet.
So we got Wan'Dale Robinson versus Theo, and Wan'Dale Robinson versus I forgot who was it already. Who was the first one? I just look at ADP for wide receivers. I forgot what it was. Do you remember?
No, not off the top of my head.
We gotta go back to our video. We already forgot. Oh, was Rashad Bateman? Yeah.
Was it Bateman? No, you're gonna have to watch this back and let me know.
I'll have to watch it back.
But I stand behind my bet. No, it's Luke McCaffrey.
Oh yeah, Luke McCaffrey. Okay, yeah, that's okay.
I'm not willing to bet on Bateman. I'm not taking the Bateman.
That's fine. Okay, so I'm definitely fading Theo Johnson. I do like him in Dynasty, right? If you're going to buy him in Dynasty 100%, if it's super flex and you have like 3 flex spots, yeah, he might be startable on bye weeks. I don't think I'm comfortable starting him in a redraft as a starting tight end. I got to see it first. I mean, you are getting value drafting him that late, which is phenomenally nice. But I got to see it come to fruition first before I can say he's a startable tight end. Heading to our next player here, I'm going to go and shoot at you. Hunter Henry, New England Patriots. ADP right now is it's later than Wan'Dale Robinson, I believe, which is crazy to me. Hunter Henry's going at 162 right next to Wan'Dale Robinson. He's going off the board at tight end 18. Are you grenading for him or fading him?
Here's the thing, right? If I'm thinking about that offense, right? If I'm thinking about that offense, the only person who seems like they have a safe floor because everybody there is a ceiling player. Let's be honest.
Hunter Henry.
There's what, 6 wide receivers there. All of them can play, right? All of them are a great ceiling play.
Fighting for the spot.
Fighting for the spot on a week-to-week basis. So that means the floor is non-existent, right? If we're talking about a safe floor, and the only real shining light from an awful season, a catastrophic, Patriots offense season where we're like, oh, is it going to be Demario Douglas? Is it going to be Kendrick Moore? Is it going to be, Juju Smith-Schuster? Is it going to be Mike Gesicki? It was nobody. It was fucking nobody. Nobody did anything because Mac Jones sucks. Fuck you, Mac Jones. Fuck you, Mac Jones. Okay. All right. Sorry. Am I allowed to curse on your show? Am I allowed to?
You're allowed to cuss on the show.
Fuck you, Mac Jones. You fucking piece of shit.
It's terrible.
I hope an alligator eats you in Jacksonville, bitch. I hope a jaguar mauls you, you fucker. So we're talking about just safe floor. Out of all of the players there, just a safe floor, an awesome floor. Hunter Henry's great. I just don't like the safe floor players. So if I need a third tight end in basketball, sure. Hunter, or even a second tight end in basketball, 100%. Smashing Hunter Henry. We'll jump on a grenade there for sure because I know he's reliable and I know that he's a good way to close out at a very good value. But if I'm talking about pre-draft, am I comfortable starting him? Probably not. I wouldn't jump on that grenade. I like the player. I think he's got the safest floor. But as I said before, this is all about theory.
TV upside's got to be high.
Not really.
All
the upside goes to Javon Baker, Demario Douglas, Jalen Polk, Ramondre Stevenson, even Kendrick Bourne, KJ Osborne, Juju Smith-Schuster. All those guys have the upside, right? If we're talking about a floor, it's Hunter Henry, and his floor is his upside. His floor is his upside, right?
I think I'm jumping on a grenade for him at his value. I love Hunter Henry this season, especially with Drake May. Rookie quarterbacks target the tight end. He just got his bag. And the wide receiver group is unknown. This is the only known, like you're saying, safe floor player. Hunter Henry could see 10 targets a game. Literally.
Yeah, I call bullshit. You know why I call bullshit? Here's why I call bullshit. Because you have been campaigning for Javon Baker being one of the best.
But it's unknown. It's unknown still.
But one of the best. And you're like, there's nobody there but Hunter Henry.
Pop Douglas is getting the hype right now. Javon Baker's the true alpha wide receiver.
Okay, so you just said there wasn't a true alpha wide receiver there.
Not
you
yet.
literally just said on your take about Hunter Henry just now.
Not
so
yet.
I have to call you on your shit. Which is it? Is Hunter Henry the true alpha there, or is Javon Baker the true alpha?
Is the veteran presence. Veteran presence is going to see more targets. 100%.
I'm not sold. If you were ever in sales, I am not buying what you're selling. I'm not sold.
I'm telling you, Hunter Henry's going to see more targets than every wide receiver in the Patriots.
Fair. I just hope that we don't have another season where all Patriots are just a fucking dud because
they just need to. They have too many. It's like a fucking pool of 3 wide receivers, and I can't figure out who's the one. I think by talent, it's Javon Baker. By watching, yes. Pop Douglas getting the hype now. Jalen Polk was drafted higher. I don't know how it's going to play out. I want to see my guy Baker do it. Yes, 100%. Yes.
The only guy I campaigned as hard as I did I campaigned really hard for Sam Laporta. My community became the hashtag Laporta supporters. Campaigned really hard for Jaden Reed. The only other guy I really campaigned super hard for was Pop Douglas. So I'm still a Pop Douglas truther.
He's electric, man, but he's just tiny.
He is. Had Bill Belichick not sat him after he fumbled, Pop Douglas would have been a fantasy football name last year. And it sucks. It sucks that he fumbled, and it sucks that Bill Belichick,
he's a dick like that.
has a fucking ego, but yet he wants to hook up
20-years
who are fucking 19 years old. Anyways, carry on. Moving forward. Thank you for the 6 Super Bowl rings, Coach, you fucking asshole.
James is busted up in the background. All right, so that is Hunter Henry for me. You got next, last tight end, and then we'll dive into deep sleeper past 200, and then we'll call it a show, man. It's been amazing.
One of the best tight ends in the last 3 years in college football. Didn't really do much until relatively late last season, but then again, in the NFL, talking about the Raiders, not many people did much on offense last year. So here's a second-year player that, before the NFL draft, a lot of people were saying this guy's going to take a jump. And then after the NFL draft, this guy's now being drafted as a tight end number 20 in best ball drafts. And if you are drafting best ball, make sure you draft on Drafters Fantasy Sports and use promo code SLEAZE. It'll double your initial deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. It's a great value. And speaking of great values, you can get one of these spectacular values in Michael Mayer in round 20, completely free currently on Drafters Fantasy Sports. So make sure you sign up using promo code SLEAZE. How do you feel about Mike Mayer?
I am 100% fading Michael Mayer in redraft at all cost, and this is the number one reason why. We just talked about Zamir White and how they want to pound the ground game and control the clock. Last year, the Oakland Raiders were the worst in the NFL at targeting the tight end at 72 times, and that was 20 behind the 31st team. It is absolutely terrible. I know they have Brock Bowers now too, so they're going to be running 2 tight end sets. I'm never going to feel comfortable starting a tight end that's always running in a 2 tight end set ever. You might get him in best ball. I like at the end value around 20, yeah, but I'm never ever going to feel comfortable starting him in redraft, and I'm probably not going to draft him at all.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Because I like that stat. I like that stat you gave me earlier. The 30 seconds, 72 times targeting the tight end. Where was Gardner? Did you still have access to that list?
I did it on my Twitter post a while back.
Okay.
I don't know how far back it is, but
okay. Do you still have access to where Gardner Minshew and the Indianapolis Colts were ranked when Gardner Minshew took over? That's where he targets the tight end position. I'm curious.
Hang on. Gardner Minshew hasn't even won the job yet. They're saying AOC is winning this job right now in camp, by the way.
Debatable. You don't bring in a Gardner Minshew, guy who's proven, and the guy who almost took the Indianapolis Colts to the playoffs last year.
Right. So, give me a tight end that Gardner Minshew ever made good.
It doesn't matter. I'm talking about targets because his tight ends last year sucked.
There was none on the Colts that got targeted. Kylan Granson was terrible.
Okay, so my question is, okay, and hear me out. You gave me a stat about an offense that targeted the tight end position. So when Gardner Minshew took over,
the Colts got to be the bottom. They have to be the bottom, right with the Raiders. I don't have the
pull it up.
Okay, let's see. Okay. So no, this is not. Most targets, tight ends, 2023. I gotta pay for that. That's not what I want. Let's go Fantasy Pros. How do I do it by team? This is gonna be interesting because I do believe the Colts are at the bottom with the Raiders.
But since Gardner Minshew took over, not with Anthony Richardson, but since
Anthony Richardson only played 2 games. Okay. So let's see here. Where the Colts are? I can't even find the Colts are this low. Scrolling through the list. Indianapolis looking for tight end targets. And the highest. Oh my God, this is bad. Weeks 1 to 18 roster tight ends. Looking for here we go. Colts. The highest targeted tight end was Kylan Granson with 25. That's Jelani Woods. No, he didn't even play last year, so that's 0. Yeah, 25 was the highest targeted tight end. That's horrible. What are you looking for?
I'm just I want to see I know we're gonna waste too much time on this, so we can parking lot this and revisit it next week.
That's fine.
I want to see how many times he targeted the tight end
Will Mallory had 26.
Where he was averaging his because you said come off the top, right? So I came off the top. None of this was written or preconceived. I literally just came off the top, the noggin with all of this.
Okay, I got it. Total targets to tight ends for the Indianapolis Colts last season. Kylan Granson had 50. Will Mallory had 26. They had 119 total to the tight end.
Okay, so you just said, okay, and remove James's comment there. You just said that
the Miami Dolphins had 52, by the way. They were lower than the Raiders. I did that.
Yeah, so 72 for the Raiders. All right. And how many for the Colts? 100 what?
119 for the Colts. They were middle of the pack. The Raiders were the very bottom.
What's 119 minus 72, sir?
119 minus 72. So 38, 57.
Okay. So you don't invest in a Michael Mayer and expect not to use a Michael Mayer the same way you don't invest in a Brock Bowers and expect not to use a Brock Bowers. So the fact that we're looking at a 32 jump increase should Gardner Minshew take over the QB1 position is still yet to be decided.
But still, that's not enough when you have Brock Bowers in front of you.
I'm not done. Let me finish. All right. Let me cook. Let me cook. All right, sir. I'm in the kitchen right now. I'm in the kitchen. I'm cooking. Jeez. If you're looking at that team, right, there's a reason why they said, okay, we like Michael Mayer where we like Michael Mayer in the second round last year. There's a reason why they took Brock Bowers where they took Brock Bowers this year. This is a team that's going to run the ball a lot. We both agreed to that. This is a team that's going to be in two double tight end personnel more often than not. I would say 60% of the time they're on the field because they can afford to, because Brock Bowers could probably slip into that, Aaron Hernandez tweener role. He could play a little bit of slot, a little bit of wide, be a jump ball threat. When you look at, my best comparison for Michael Mayer, it's Gronkowski. Yeah.
Whoa.
Just seriously, just like laugh all you want, but like that's so. If we're talking about straight up opportunity where both players are going to be on the field more often than not, because they're both going to be on the field a lot of the time, and there's more opportunity with a quarterback who favors targeting the tight end position, especially two good tight ends. With Jacoby Myers, who's as reliable as it gets at the wide receiver position, one of the safest floors in fantasy football at the wide receiver position. If Jacoby Myers is available, take him. I don't care who's around him, take him. Take Jacoby Myers, unless it's like Jordan Love, then obviously take Jordan Love. But what I'm saying is there's going to be more opportunity for both tight ends to eat. And if we're talking about somebody who has a safe floor, neither tight end has a safe floor, but both have a very high ceiling. And because they both have a high ceiling, which has been the trend of this entire thing, I'm investing in both tight ends, and I much prefer the free value that Michael Mayer has currently in best ball tournaments and in redraft. Everybody and their mom has faded Michael Mayer. We said earlier, the method to beat the Chiefs in the AFC West is to run the rock. You got to go that 11 personnel to run the rock a lot. And they got two of the best. That's the best tight end group. Like last 3 years, who are the two best tight ends in college football the last 3 years? Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. They both block phenomenally. They're both incredible route runners. They both have phenomenal hands. Great run after the catch. They both have the opportunity. Just because Brock Bowers got drafted there and Brock Bowers is a better tight end, by all means, doesn't mean that Michael Mayer is going to suffer. I think Michael Mayer is going to flourish.
It does suffer his target share. That's for sure. That's one thing that does. He didn't even have a target share last year, if you call it that. But
neither of them are a safe floor play. The only safe floor play there is Zamir White and Jacoby Myers. Devontae isn't even a safe floor. We can't say that he has a safe floor. We know he has a high ceiling. Last year, we didn't see a safe floor from Devontae. We saw a high ceiling towards the end, right? But if we're talking about a high ceiling play, both of those tight ends are absolutely spectacular. If we're talking about a value, a completely free value, and if you want to play to win fantasy football, you play the high ceiling. You play the high ceiling and at a value like Michael Mayer, a guy who has done nothing wrong, who didn't suck, whose situation actually improved because there's more talent around him. I don't see why I would fade him. But hey, that's neither here nor there. That's
okay. So last question is Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell? Which one gives him more value?
Fuck, can you imagine being Devontae Adams and coming into like your year 31 season and being like, so
my quarterback situation?
Who's throwing me the rock? I'm retiring. It's going to be Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. Can you, man.
Good.
Oh, man. Like, God, poor guy. He shouldn't have left Green Bay. He fucked up. He fucked up big time. But hey, he's got his Netflix show. He's got a show.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
He's gonna be on Netflix. Good for him.
Okay.
Good for him.
You're jumping on a grenade from Mayer. I'm fading him. We're hour 20 in. Let's dive into our deep sleepers here. Who do you got for me past 200 ADP? These are going to be players that are most likely not going to be on your roster, but if something happened, they're in that great situation.
I mean, I got several players. Like I could say, honorable mentions to Miles Sanders because he's literally free, and his like the with the investment
you
that
got
you would
man
make
meat for Miles Sanders, bro.
well, with the investment you make for Miles Sanders, it's free. It costs you nothing. You lose nothing.
It is.
So like if he's a bust, then whatever, it costs you nothing. It's free. Free 99, as I like to say. And if he hits, he becomes an RB1 or even an RB in the rotation in best ball format. That's a W. In redraft, it's good to hold on to for sure, especially at that value. So there's him. Jonathan Mingo, I feel like your buddy said it earlier. I forgot his name was Dan. He was in the the.
I don't think Jonathan Mingo is going to make the rotation. He might be 4 wide receiver sets, but he needs an injury.
If you look at any of the tape last year, he was not utilized properly. He was not utilized properly.
He was running wind sprints. He was out. He ran so many routes for nothing.
For sure. And I think I loved the prospect, loved the player, hated the situation. I think the situation is much better for him this year. I think he's going to get involved. I think if we're talking about a guy who's going out, it's got to be Thielen, right? But like once again, we can agree to disagree. That's Jonathan Mingo's another guy, and I just went with 2 Carolina Panthers, and I didn't even think about it like that. So I will say my one guy who I've been there's also Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right? If you look at Clyde too. I like Clyde late because Jerick McKinnon's gone, and yes, Isaiah Pacheco is the back, and he's him, and he's a great value and could be an RB1 this year. I love Pacheco. But if you're looking at the Jerick McKinnon vacancy and them bringing back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that means one thing. Down the stretch with a very nice schedule against teams that allowed a lot of points to a receiving running back in terms of fantasy football, Clyde Edwards-Helaire can absolutely smash and eat. Once again, not costing you much, but he could
the way Pacheco runs too, that injury scares there.
PPR format, Clyde Edwards-Helaire down the stretch, he could do what Jerick McKinnon did, not last year, but the year before, down the stretch, right? There's also, I'll take you to my last guy, and the common theme is running back. Okay, you always want to find a running back who has value. If you look at Tennessee historically, right, first and second down, say Derrick Henry doesn't get 7 yards. You know what I mean? It's third and 7. Okay,
so here comes the third down back.
Here comes the third down back. Right, so Derrick Henry is no longer there. So it's no longer Tajay Spears. Everybody thinks it's going to be Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell is a fast runner. He's a change of pace runner, but he's not a receiving.
He's a home run hitter.
Exactly. He's a change of pace runner. He's not a receiving back, and he's coming off of a pretty awful grade 3 ACL injury towards the end of last season, December 17th. So his rehab is still under process, right? So when the season comes around, he's going to go from learning how to walk to running.
Probably week 10,
Major red flag. And sure, if he is healthy week 1, he's going to start ramping up slowly and surely, okay? What somebody that a lot of people are not talking about is Justice Hill. Justice Hill, time and time again, shows that when the Baltimore Ravens are on a 3rd and long, he is a reliable receiving back. He'll get you 2.5 receptions, 3.5 receptions in these cold weather games down the stretch. Sometimes even more than that, he gets involved. And just for that purpose and purpose alone, I think with Derrick Henry and, the Baltimore Ravens, we know they're going to pound the rock. We know they're going to move the rock. But we know one thing and one thing only. It's Derrick Henry's 3rd and long is not going to be in there. So I'd much rather invest in that opportunity, definitely in best ball format, because that's what I do. That's my thing. Like I'm a best ball guy. I'm a redraft, whatever. Redraft neither here
nor there. You're getting into it. You're getting into dynasty. You're getting into all of it.
I mean, like I dabble, but like once again in basketball format, I think Justice Hill is one of those players that people don't talk about enough, and he's going undrafted. And I think you need to take a shot on him because there is a clear path to opportunity, and it's not in a handcuff situation. It's on a week-to-week basis where he can get involved based off of game script alone, and I think he's going to get a lot of opportunity there.
Okay. So this one, I'm going to 100% jump on the grenade with you. I mean, Justice Hill right now going off the board at running back 71 compared to other handcuffs in front of him is nuts to me, especially being on the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, so if you look at running backs like Tank Bigsby, Audric Estime, Keaton Mitchell, Will Shipley, Alexander Madison, Garendo, Labe, all drafted in front of him, make absolutely zero sense to me.
He has a clearer path to success than Braylon Allen this year.
Oh, well, I mean, they're both injury dependent. I mean, either way.
No, Justice Hill's not injury dependent. That's what I've been saying. He's not injury dependent. He is going to get involved in game script if it's 3rd and 7.
Right, but I mean, to become a reliable starter, he is injury dependent. Yes.
Sorry,
right, you're not to become a reliable starter. He's injury dependent. You're not going to start Justice Hill.
But like that's not the point I'm making at all. It has nothing. Like even if Derrick Henry plays all 17 games in a standalone value, Justice Hill still is a player based off of game script alone in 3rd and 7, third and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and long, whatever it is. Justice Hill will be in the game. Will Derrick Henry be running off the field, 3rd down? In will Justice Hill be? That's opportunity right there. He's getting on the field. It has nothing to do with the injury. It's literally game script alone. And that's with his standalone value right there. So if you
look at Justice Hill since coming to the Ravens in 2019, his receptions have gone up every year. Even though it's been a low amount, it's still improvement. I think it could be even better this year. But
100%. It should be 100%.
To become relevant for me, he has to have an injury. And then if Derrick Henry goes down, Justice Hill could be a league winner.
Yep.
Instantly.
Yep.
I mean, I love the pick a lot, 100%.
Yep.
So my last one here to throw at you, if I had to throw my sleeper at you, it is going to be one of my favorite players to target that everyone is just hating on, and I can't figure it out. And we just talked about this wide receiver room earlier in the stream. It is going to be Greg Dulcich, and I am going to jump on a grenade for this guy, this ADP. Tell me why, if you are or if you aren't.
Okay. So I'm going to straight up tell you to sell me on him because there's no fucking way in hell I'm drafting him.
Why?
Well, what do you mean, why? I have, like, Greg Dulcich. What has he done for me lately? Nothing. Okay, so it's a crowded wide receiver. It could be anybody. Though, yes? It could be Tim Patrick. It could be fucking, like, yes. I would much rather, okay? Put me on record. I would much rather get exposure to Tim Patrick than I would to Greg Dulcich. And I know they play a completely different position, but right. I would much rather get exposure to Tim Patrick in basketball than I would, and even in redraft, I would draft Tim Patrick ahead of Greg Dulcich. So I don't have to convince you as to why. You need to convince me as to why I need to jump on that grenade. Talk to me. Why Greg Dulcich?
Greg Dulcich is going to be the second option at a team that is playing from behind the whole time, and Sean Payton targets within 10 yards from the running back to the tight end more than any coach in motherfucking football, which is where Greg Dulcich lives. He's just been injured last year, and everyone forgot about him. His rookie year, he was phenomenal. He was it was a short term. He got injured again. That's a problem. He's had back-to-back injuries. I know that makes it hard, but if he puts together a healthy season in a Broncos wide receiver room with Bo Nix as a rookie quarterback, who everyone knows love to target tight ends, the volume should be massive, and it should be a massive steal. And I like him over about 20 of the tight ends above him from ADP.
Has he been okay? So I'll ask you a question. Has he been participating in camp?
I think his hamstrings are on the side again already.
Okay.
I don't want to. Don't give me injuries. I'm saying if he's healthy.
But like, you know what? If I had fucking elephant ears, I'd be a fucking elephant and not a human. You know what I mean? It's like the if, ands, or buts. Like, this is a factual business. Okay, we are in the business of facts, and here's the fact. Okay, there's 3 rules on the Big Draft Energy 10 draft commandments. The first 3 are: 1, don't be a homer. Do not draft players just because you know their name because they play for your favorite team. Rule number 2 is do not reach. You reach, I teach. Rule number 3 is avoid the red flags. So the major red flag here with Greg Dulcich and why I'm avoiding him is, you said it 4 times in your speech. Injuries. If he's healthy. Currently, he's not even in camp.
But we've all been drafting Jelani Woods, and he's been injured back-to-back as well. And we're all pumping up Jelani Woods.
Same fucking thing. No, is Jelani Woods currently participating in camp? Yeah,
he's out there. Yes. So but I mean, still,
what's the difference? One guy is currently participating because he's healed and recovered. The other guy is still dealing with.
I'm just giving you examples.
For sure, but I just rebutted your answer.
Yeah.
Jelani Woods had a hamstring injury last year. This year he's fine. Dulcich had a hamstring issue 2 years ago. He had it last year, and he's still dealing with it. He's still dealing with it. Guess who else is dealing with a hamstring? Christian Watson. Don't fucking draft Christian Watson either.
Oh my God. All right, we're coming to the end here. Amazing show. I can't wait to do it every Wednesday. This is awesome. I love bantering back and forth. It's great. James SEO in chat says Shaheed or Burton or Shakir, not Shaheed, in redraft to end the show. I would take Shakir just based on Burton being a number 3, and we don't know how the build is going to play out yet. Still, I like them both at about the same value. What would you put on that one?
Burton.
Burton over Shakir?
Burton over.
I mean, both have great quarterbacks. I mean,
Burton over Shakir and Shaheed.
And Shaheed, okay,
yeah,
okay. He's going Jermaine Burton over both. All right, guys, that went a lot longer than I thought, but goddamn, it was fun. I could talk forever if we do this. Next Wednesday, we are going to try and get possibly see if we can get Bayou Bengal in here as well. Get some man meat going. And I don't know what the show is going to be yet, but I'm down for that. I will be in Vegas this weekend for the Scott Fish draft. We leave Thursday, so I won't be here for the rest of the week. So you guys have an amazing weekend. Big Draft Energy. Make sure you check my guy on YouTube and Twitter. He drops amazing content. It was awesome having you on. I love going back and forth. That was great. Everybody that's watching and listening, thank you. I will put it on the Apple and Spotify right after this. And you got anything you want to drop on the way out? Besides, don't draft Christian motherfucking Watson.
Or Greg thanks for having me. Drafters Fantasy is a hell of a good time. It's one of the only best ball tournaments out there that's PPR. It's one of the only best ball tournaments out there that is total points overall. It's a completely different animal, and I think the best of the best play there. And if you think that you got what it takes to play with the big dogs, sign up on Drafters Fantasy Sports today using promo code SLEAZE. He'll double your initial deposit up to $100. I appreciate you having me on, brother. I'm tired, but that was
awesome, man. It's late for you, bro.
Yeah, it's all good though. It's all good. I need that clip.
That steak is gonna taste amazing right now.
I need that clip. Please send me that clip.
I'm gonna get that clip.
The mustard bukkake. I think it was like 42 minutes in. That was great.
Dan's like, let's draft right now. No. I got the wife yelling at me. All right, I'm out, guys. Thank you for everything. That was awesome, Disco. I'm gonna play this. Add the page. Let's go. And I'm out, guys. Have a good night, Disco, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'll message you. Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Okay.